What's shaken, the angel of authenticity here, wanting to share with you a verse that I was led to today. Well, it's really a story. It's a parable about the weeds amongst the wheat. You know, farmers went out and they had good seed. And they were really excited about this good seed. They went and planted the wheat. A few days later, they went to God and they said, hey man, there's weeds growing all in that wheat. I thought it was good seed. We've been sabotaged. Well, they said, should we pull up the weeds and separate them? Now, God calls us to separate ourselves a lot in life. But he told them, he said, no, let them grow together. Which means they got the same sun, the same nourishment, same soil, same loving care, you know, because it wasn't fully developed yet, and they got the same chance as the wheat did. And he said, we'll separate them at harvest. We'll gather all the weeds and we'll bind them up for the fire, and the wheat will go into the barn then. But if we uproot the weeds now, we take too much chance to uproot the good wheat and the good seed. So they grew together and were separated at harvest. So this is a really important, and that's Matthew, the book of Matthew, or 2 Corinthians actually. And in the book of Matthew going on, hold on, let me get my notes here. I'm not at home, so don't quote me here. But we're talking 2 Corinthians 17, and we're talking Matthew 7 and Matthew 13 today. It's 2 Corinthians that talks about coming out amongst and separating yourselves. Come out amidst the people. Come out and separate yourself, he says. God says that Jesus is teaching, touch no unclean thing and I shall receive you. That's 2 Corinthians 17 there. And then you have Matthew 13, 24-30 is the wheat parable. But then it goes into John 16, 17 here. I wanted to touch on this. You are not of this world, as I made you. I am not of this world, and I made you like me, and that's why the world hates you. You are not of it. So again, it's talking about God separating you from the others, and separating yourself. In holy fire protection and walking a divine path that only God can call you to do, and only God understands why you're doing it. Often you're amongst the weeds. So I think that's an important lesson and something to remember about judgment. When we're passing judgment on people, they might look like they're amongst the weeds. They'll say guilty by association. They'll say you are what your environment is, and yada. That's not true. No matter how many weeds are around that seed of wheat, it'll always grow up to be a beautiful fruit of golden wheat. So, just judge not, least you should be judged. So that's kind of an important thing to remember on today's lesson that I learned. You know, it also talks about separating yourself from wickedness, basically, and not to serve them, not to eat with them, not to fellowship with them. Once you know, you give them a shot, you give them another shot, and then you cut them off. God's pretty adamant about that, but he definitely talks a lot about stepping forward, and you're a unique, wonderfully made, brilliant creature that was good. And remember that. Don't let anybody make you feel otherwise. And until next time, it's about that authenticity, here to remind you to get real. Stay that way.